Once upon a time, in a small village nestled by the edge of a vast river, Toby the spider was known far and wide for his cleverness. He had outwitted many, gaining wealth and fame in the process. But no matter how much he had, Toby was never satisfied. His greed knew no bounds. One day, Toby heard tales of Mami Wata, the enchanting water spirit, who could grant immense wealth to those she favored. Toby's eyes gleamed with desire as he devised a plan to trick Mami Wata into giving him her treasures. Disguising himself as a humble fisherman, Toby went to the riverbank and called out to Mami Wata, pretending to be in desperate need. "Oh, great Mami Wata, I am but a poor fisherman. I have lost everything and my family is starving. Please bless me with your wealth and I will forever be in your debt." Mami Wata, with her shimmering scales and mesmerizing eyes, emerged from the water, her presence both beautiful and terrifying. She saw through Toby's disguise, but decided to play along, curious to see where his deceit would lead. "I can grant you the wealth you seek," Mami Wata said, her voice like the gentle waves lapping against the shore. "But first, you must complete a task. You must bring me the rarest gem from the heart of the jungle. Only then will I reward you." Toby, confident in his cunning, agreed without hesitation. He ventured deep into the jungle, thinking of nothing but the riches that awaited him. After days of searching, he finally found the rare gem, its surface gleaming like the morning sun. Triumphant, he returned to the river and presented it to Mami Wata. But when she took the gem, something unexpected happened. The gem dissolved into water, slipping through Toby's hands. Mami Wata smiled, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. "You see, Toby, greed has blinded you. The true wealth is not in what you can take, but in what you give. You have come to me with deceit in your head, and for that you shall be taught a lesson." As Mami Wata's voice echoed through the air, the river around Toby began to swirl, putting him into depths. Toby struggled, but his clever tricks were useless against the power of the water spirit. Before he knew it, he found himself in an underwater realm, surrounded by the dazzling treasures beyond his wildest dreams. Gold, pearls, and precious stones were scattered everywhere, but none of it was within his reach. Mami Wata appeared before him, her presence commanding yet serene. "This is the wealth you sought, Toby, but it is not yours to keep. You see, these treasures belong to those who respect the balance of life, not those who seek to exploit it." Desperate to escape, Toby tried to negotiate. "Great Mami Wata, I have learned my lesson. Please let me go, and I promise I will never be greedy again." Mami Wata studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I will release you, Toby, but only if you pass one final test. You must give up something you hold dear in exchange for your freedom. It cannot be wealth, for that is meaningless to you. It must be something that truly matters to your heart." Toby was taken aback. What could he give up? He thought. He thought of his many possessions, but they all seemed worthless in comparison to his life. Then he remembered his family, his beloved wife and children, who had always stood by him despite his flaws. With a heavy heart, Tobi made his decision. I will give up my cleverness, the one thing that has defined me all my life. Without it, I will be a simple spider, but I will have my family and my freedom. Mami Wata looked at him closely, her eyes deep like the ocean. Very well, Tobi, she said, her voice smooth like the water. But remember, once you give up your cleverness, there is no going back. Tobi nodded, but inside his mind was racing. He couldn't let go of his cleverness just like that. It was his pride, his power. But he also knew that if he didn't give Mami Wata what she wanted, he might never see his family again. Then Tobi got an idea. One last trick. Mami Wata, he said carefully. Before I give you my cleverness, let me ask you one question. If you answer it correctly, I will know you're truly wise, and I will give up my cleverness without regret. Mami Wata smiled. She loved challenges. Ask your question, Tobi. Tobi paused, then asked, what is the one thing that even you, the great Mami Wata, cannot control? Mami Wata's smile faded for a moment, and she looked deep in thought. The waters around them stilled, as if waiting for her answer. After what felt like forever, Mami Wata finally spoke. The hearts of men, she said quietly. No matter how powerful I am, I cannot control the choices of humans. They have free will. Tobi's eyes gleamed. He had finally tricked her. Exactly, he said, pretending to agree. And that is why I cannot give up my cleverness, for it is my heart's choice to hold on to it. But just as Tobi thought he had won, Mami Wata's laughter echoed through the air, sharp and knowing. Ah, Tobi, you are clever, but not clever enough. You see, I knew you would try to trick me again, so I'll offer you a different deal. Tobi felt a chill. What deal? Mami Wata's eyes sparkled with mischief. I will let you keep your cleverness, but in exchange, I will take away something even more precious to you. Tobi's heart pounded. What could be more precious than my cleverness? Mami Wata leaned closer, her voice like a whisper in the wind. Your family's memory of you. They will forget you ever existed. You will keep your cleverness, but you will be a stranger to those you love. Tobi froze. This wasn't the deal he had expected. He realized too late that his greed had led him into a trap. If he kept his cleverness, he would lose his family forever. But if he gave it up, it would be just a simple spider, forgotten by the world. Mami Wata watched as Tobi struggled with the choice. What will it be, Tobi? Your cleverness or your family? The river's silence grew heavy as Tobi wrestled with his decision. The weight of his choice pressed down on him, and for the first time in his life, Tobi felt truly trapped. His cleverness had always been his greatest asset, but now it felt like a curse. The thought of losing his family's memory of becoming a stranger in his own home was unbearable. Tears welled up in Tobi's eyes as he looked at Mami Wata, whose gaze never wavered, the water spirit patiently waiting, her expression unreadable, as if she already knew the turmoil in his heart. Tobi's voice trembled as he finally spoke. I choose my family, but as soon as the word left his mouth, the ground beneath him began to shake violently. The river roared with fury and dark clouds gathered in the sky. Mami Wata's eyes flared with a bright, blinding light, and the air around them crackled with energy. Tobi tried to hold his ground, but the force of the storm was too strong. He was lifted off his feet, spun around in a whirlpool of water and wind. Suddenly, everything went still. The storm stopped as quickly as it had begun, and Tobi found himself hovering in the air, suspended above the water. Mami Wata's voice thundered around him, both gentle and fierce. You have chosen wisely, Tobi, but wisdom alone is not enough. You must prove that your choice is true, that you value your family above all else. Before Tobi could respond, he was plunged into the depths of the river. The water was cold, dark, and endless, pulling him down, down, down. He struggled to breathe, his limbs failing as he fought against the current. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break free. Then, in the darkness, he saw them, his wife and children, their faces glowing softly, smiling at him with warmth and love. They were within reach, just a few strokes away. Tobi's heart ached with longing just as he tried to swim towards them. A powerful current pushed him back. Tobi! His wife's voice echoed through the air. Save us! Panicked, Tobi pushed himself harder, but the current grew stronger. He watched in horror as his family's faces began to fade, their smiles turning into looks of despair. No! Tobi screamed, but his voice was swallowed by the water. He couldn't lose them, not like this. With all his might, he surged forward, breaking through the current, reaching out desperately. Just as his fingers brushed against his wife's hand, the current vanished. Tobi was thrust back to the surface, gasping for air. He found himself standing on solid ground once more, drenched and exhausted, but alive. Mami Wata stood before him, her expression serene. You have proven your choice, Tobi. You fought for your family, even when it seemed hopeless. That is a true mark of love. Tobi, still panting, looked around frantically. Where are they? Where are my family? Mami Wata smiled softly and pointed behind him. Tobi turned to see his wife and children standing on the riverbank, waiting for him with open arms. Overcome with emotion, Tobi ran to them, collapsing into their embrace. As they held each other tightly, Mami Wata's voice echoed in the distance. Remember, Tobi, true cleverness lies in knowing when to let go. Use your gift wisely and never forget what truly matters. Tobi looked up, but Mami Wata was gone. The river calm and peaceful once more. He felt a strange warmth in his heart, a new understanding that his cleverness wasn't about outsmarting others, but about protecting and loving those who meant the most to him. From that day on, Tobi used his cleverness not for selfish gain, but to help his family and ensure the happiness of his family. And whenever he passed by the river, he would smile, knowing that Mami Wata had given him not just a second chance, but a second chance to truly live.